Marketing That Works is the podcast for business owners who want to move their brand forward so that they can bring in more sales and clients. I'm Danielle R, and I'm bringing you what I know from more than 12 years of experience in traditional and online marketing. I have created marketing strategies for businesses of all sizes, from multi-million-dollar corporations to early-stage online businesses. Remember, some marketers chase fads. I believe in mastering the fundamentals. 2026 is just around the corner, and I want to spend some time talking about some of the things that are really going to shape how marketing and business work going forward. Typically, I'm not really a big fan of these predictions. This is going to be like the next big thing sort of situation. But the things that I'm going to be mentioning right here are things that I have been noticing over time and I think are really going to come into fruition and really start to grow and really shape the way that marketing and business are going forward. But before I get into what those specific things are, I'm going to spend some time talking about where I think the overall vibe and the feelings are going to be for 2026. 2026 is going to be the year that people commit. The last few years, I've seen people jump around to try this strategy or that strategy to get ahead and trying all of these different things to actually grow their business. But 2026 is going to be the year that people commit and focus. Not in that hustling type of way, but in that determined dedication type of way, which I love to see. So, with that energy in mind, with that determination in mind, let's get into some of the things that you should be on the lookout for 2026. Now, the first area that you need to make note of going into the new year is that in 2026 and going forward, people are going to be more inspired by outside industries, outside areas. If you primarily grow your business in the online space, you've probably noticed that that circle, that bubble seems like it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And what really is going to happen within the next year or so is that people are going to realize that that bubble is way too small and that to get inspiration and to see real growth, they're going to have to look for inspiration outside of the coaching industry, service provider, online business bubble. It's just way too small of an area to really be inspired and to see some growth. And that's something that I've noticed myself throughout my career in various ways. I remember when I was working in the concrete industry, specifically when I was doing a lot of trade show marketing. One of the things that I got really into was seeing a lot of booths, a lot of trade shows that were focused on the concrete industry. And a lot of them were the same. They were doing the same things over and over, and there was no real innovation or growth in how things were being done. So one of my thoughts was like, what are other people in other industries doing to really get people to attract to their booth, to really see some growth and some interaction? And what I did is I went to outside industries. I went to more consumer first industries like create and cultivate. I went to other leading industries. I looked at what they were doing. I studied for the ones that I couldn't actually go to. And for those things, I said, how can I adapt this to the people that I'm serving within the concrete industry? That same type of approach needs to happen within the online business industry. What are creators doing? What are people in the food industry doing? What are people doing in the products industry? What are those people doing that is really working, and how can that then be adapted to what you're doing? Inspiration is going to have to look from other different places and see how that can adapt. That is going to be the way that things grow and flourish for you as an individual business and also just for the industry as a whole. So, really take note for that for yourself. How can you be inspired from areas that you probably originally never would have thought of and see how you can adapt things that are working in one area and see how you can get that to work for yourself? That's really going to be huge within the next few years. Now, the second area that is really going to be big within the next few years is the rise of the personal brand. Now, you might be initially thinking, like, hasn't personal branding always kind of been a thing and a growth thing? Yes and no. A lot of times people think of a personal brand, but they have been niched too much. And so they're just like, I only talk about this one particular thing versus thinking of themselves as an overall brand for an identity, an ethos, group of values. And so when you have the rise of a personal brand, you're allowing yourself to be able to pivot and move more elegantly. So there are a lot of people who Let's say that they start off their business and they grow in one direction. So let's think about me. Say I've been growing my business, talking about marketing for years and years and years. But let's say that there comes a day where I'm like, I don't want to talk exclusively about marketing. I want to talk about a little bit more. When you have a personal brand that's not built around just one niche, just one individual thing, product, or service that you have a lot more leeway to pivot and grow and expand in a way that's not going to confuse or shock the people that you have as your audience and as your community. So I think in 2026 and going forward, people who are, especially coaches, people who have been in the online space for some time now, they're probably feeling like, okay, I feel too pigeonholed. I feel like I can only talk about this one particular thing. And then there's this need to want to burn everything down and I have to start fresh and have to do all these other things. When really the focus should be on what is my personal brand? What are the things that I believe in and value? And how can I shape this so that no matter what type of pivot or angle I want to do, it makes total and complete sense with who I am and the brand that I've built, and so that it doesn't matter what niche or what other thing I want to pivot off to, it all is aligned and it all makes sense. I've seen this from clients who have come to me saying that, no, I've started off my career, I started off my business online, I started off my profile talking about this one particular thing. I want to go in this new direction, but I feel like everyone's going to be so confused. I feel like these people aren't going to come along with me. I feel like I need to purge my list. I need to purge everything. I need to create a new account. When you are establishing yourself as a personal brand, then you do not have to have those same type of worries. When you have the same values, when you have the same principles underlying everything that you do, everything will feel aligned and it's not as difficult to take those pivots and to make those switches. People will keep up and follow along with you. So if you were within a season where you're feeling like, "Ugh, I kind of want to change directions, but I feel like I can't do that," you feel trapped by your brand. Think about cultivating and building for yourself a personal brand so you can have a lot more freedom within that direction. That's going to be something that I'm going to be doing more of in 2026 and going forward. And really, that's also in line with how the online space is really gravitating towards. It's not so much, here's some tips, here's some tricks for this thing that you are focusing on. It's more of the person behind it all. And so, the more that you lean into this area, the easier you're actually going to find that you're able to sell whatever it is that you sell. So, if you're a career coach, if you're a money coach, if you lean more into this personal branding side of things, you're going to have a much easier time of actually selling it because not only do they buy into the fact that you know what you're talking about, people are also going to buy into you, your principles, your values, and what you believe in. So, definitely, even if you don't go full on personal brand into 2026, absolutely adopt more of some of those principles in personal branding. And maybe I'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. That's definitely going to be something that you should include more of in your 2026 marketing mix. All right, so we covered being influenced by outside influences. We talked about personal branding. So the third area that people really need to focus on and look at are in-person events. So in the post-pandemic era, 2023 going forward, in-person events was a big buzzword. But the way that I'm thinking about events in 2026 is that it's going to be local. People are traveling all over the country, all over the world to go to these meetups and to these events. But I think that in 2026 and going forward, local events are going to be the thing that's really going to help you grow. I know so many people who are connected with and engaged with people in all different parts of the country and the world. But when it comes to people within their own city, within their own area, they are not familiar with who those people are and who are people that they could potentially tap into. Say, if you wanted to do your own little content day, or if you wanted to do your own shoot and you wanted to get people that are around you to kind of help you out. Yes, you know that you have a community in Dallas and you have a community in Chicago, but what about where you live right now? Tapping into local in person events is going to be a really big deal. And really, that's going to be a way that you're going to be able to grow your community and grow your potential audience of people who would want to work with you. I know several people who they have online business presences, but the way that they get so many of their clients is through local events. I say do not sleep on the power of a local event. Go to those and really tap into the community that you can have there, the resources that you can have there. So, yes, of course, go travel, go see your mentors, go do these meetups, around the country, around the world. But also, do not forget about the power of a local community that you can really tap into and really network, grow contacts with, and also get clients from. That's going to be really huge going forward. Now, I cannot have a conversation about predictions of 2026 and not talk about AI. And the big thing that I believe that 2026 is going to do is going to force people to have a line in the sand of how they do and do not use AI to grow and enhance their business. Now, for me as a marketer, I see all of the benefits of AI, putting together structures, proposals, helping to organize ideas. I have so many clients who are verbal processors and they just need something to record and capture all their ideas and then organize them in such a brilliant way. And that is a fantastic way to be able to use AI. At the same time, my personal line in the sand is that there should not be an over reliance on the creative use of AI. I think that from brainstorming ideas for like, oh, what's a better subject line or what's a really good title for this? Brilliant ways of being able to use AI and speed up that process. But at the same time, there are skills, there are things that you should use your own brain for things. What I have seen is that there are people who will run every single thing, every single idea, every single everything that they do through AI and try to get AI's approval of things. And it's really more of a confidence booster of, well, ChatGPT told me that it was good. So like I feel good about it now. And really what it's allowing you to do is to outsource your own validation for things. And that is something that I absolutely do not want you to do. I want you to be able to stand 10 tones down and say, like, I don't care what ChatGPT said. I don't care what Claude said. Like, this is the idea that I want to go forward with. Because there could be an idea that has never seen before and that needs to go out there. Because like you might come up with an idea that ChatGPT is like, no, it should be more like this, aka more like everything else it has been told and taught and seen before, versus your own unique individualized idea that you have out there. I don't want you outsourcing all of your autonomy to these language learning models. I do want you to be able to use those tools to help you refine. So, like me, for instance, I know I'm going to have something long winded. If I'm writing a script for a reel or something, I know that unedited, I'm going to have that thing be at a 2 minute long thing. I know nobody's watching that either. What I know that I can do is I can write my own script, my own version of things, and then use ChatGPT or something like that to help me to refine it. I think that's a beautiful way of using that. Not saying like I have this idea right here, Claude, ChatGPT, come up with an entire script for me. I don't want you to use it in that way. I want you to still have your own personality, your own soul into things. And I want you to use ChatGPT and other tools like that to then help you to refine and make it sharper and very clear in that way. I don't want you outsourcing all of your creativity to some of these language learning models. That's my line in the sand. But what I need you to do in 2026 is come up with your opinion and your line of thinking for things. Because she might say, like, Danielle, absolutely no. That's not the way that I feel about that. And I want you to have that opinion and make your line in the sand. Now, you can always change it. Of course, people can always change their mind about things. But I think that this is going to be the year that people are really going to be like, no, this is how I use it. This is how I'm going to refine that and go forward in that way. So, those are the big things that I'm seeing for 2026, being inspired by outside industries, the rise of the personal brand, the rise of in person experiences, especially local ones, and that line in the sand of how you will or will not be using AI in your business. So let me know of those things that I mentioned. What are the things that you're excited about taking more of a look at? Are you looking forward to potentially going and meeting more people in your community who are business owners? Are you interested in growing more of a personal brand? Are you ready to look for inspiration outside of the online coaching industry? Let me know by following me on Instagram at Danielle.R.Harris or following me on LinkedIn. I want to have a conversation. Let's go back and forth. And if you completely disagree with some of my takes, follow me along as well and let's have a chat. I would love to talk to you more about it. All right, until next time, I'll talk to you soon. If you want more marketing that works right in your inbox, head to the show notes and sign up for the email list. You'll be the first to know how you can work with me on mastering your marketing.